Lofi Poli Sci and our amazing friend Gregory Day coming at you, Lofi. What you doing? What you doing? How you doing, Gregory Day?
I'm doing great. I just put myself back together after slightly melting in the heat out here in Austin, Texas. But I'm glad to be here in the AC with you, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I will tell you, my little casting closet's quite warm and cozy, but it's all right, all right. And this is sadly our last episode of our music summer series. I'm so sad to see it come to a close, but I'm so excited about this episode. Why don't you tell the
Yeah,
good
same.
folks at home what are we doing today?
Yeah, today we are doing a little top five share of you know the whole series has been sort of sharing musical tastes with each other, and today we're going to do one that's slightly different. It's surprises. So we've picked five songs each that maybe presenting to you, like, you maybe don't necessarily know that these are musical tastes that I have, and same from you. And like what we know of each other for the 20 plus years of our friendship, maybe these will surprise each other as to what some of the musical tastes we have.
Yes, yes, yes. And I wanted to ask you too. Let's think of a quick on-air name for this episode. It was like
Mm.
surprising five, fantastic five. Like what should we call this episode? Something that
uh
that tells people kind of what it is, but not because five songs we each like, but we don't think the other doesn't know we like. It's a little bit long of a
yeah,
title.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, five surprises.
Five surprises. Okay. Or five surprising songs.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll check that one out. All right, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so let's go. We'll go back and forth, back and forth. I'll start
Yeah,
and then we'll end with your last pick.
yeah, sounds good.
So I will say I probably think that this one, so how just to order it for people, like I have it my five going kind of in order of the ones I like the most, but also kind of
Hmm.
like how surprising each are. But in some ways, like so in some ways this one maybe should have been number one, be the most
Mm.
surprising. But at the same time, I felt like, no, I wanted to talk about this one up top. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
I
guess real
thought,
quick, should we say that we've also just shared these songs with each other right before we recorded? So these are also fresh surprises to both of us.
yes, yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
barely had time to listen to. I know I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to wait till we get to something later. But yeah, so my number five of most surprising song that Gregory Day probably doesn't know I liked would be Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus in 2009. What can I say? Like this is a totally different Miley Cyrus than today, right? This is still like Disney
Yeah, yeah.
Channel Miley Cyrus. And I
Uh-huh.
was I was working at a pizza place and a laser tag whenever this song came out, and we were just building the laser tag. And so the sound people came in and set up the sound equipment and the speakers and everything, and they had a test soundtrack for music to play while people were in their 7 minute long games. And in that playlist, Party in the USA was one of them. And we just ended up keeping their playlist and adopting it as part of like our thing. So like we would hear this song all the time. And like if I thought a birthday party with some kids were coming in and they'd love it, so I'd be like, boom, Party in the USA, and everyone like, yeah, and they'd stop playing and they would just start singing. But then other times, like you get a birthday party of like a bunch of 10-year-old boys, and you're like, I know what they're gonna like. And you start them off with something cool, but then halfway through it, you shut the music off and boom, Party in the USA. And they're like, oh, what's this? Like it was so great. And so I heard this song so much in my life at that time. Um, and I don't know, it just kind of stuck with me. I like this song. What did you think? Were you surprised?
I was surprised because yeah, I had no context for how the song made into your life and how it made
Right?
it into your taste, into the stuff that you like. And so it was definitely a surprise. And I actually never heard the song before. So it
What?
was, yeah,
What?
I don't know. I
How
don't
did you
know.
avoid this
Sometimes
song?
I don't know. I think this one, and there's another one that you will talk about later that I think I kind of don't know, but like I don't know how I missed it. Like I was like, how the hell did I never um I know this artist very well, but I don't know how did I miss the song? And so this is one that I definitely somehow missed.
I know I had some friends that would probably say you were a lucky one then. This song was everywhere. I loved it. I loved it. All right, but what's your
Yeah.
number five? Take us to
Yeah,
it.
so my number five is, I try to pick things that I think that wouldn't necessarily be obvious to my music taste. And But for a long time, I was really into indie music, indie rock music, and especially in the early aughts or mid aughts, the first decade of the new century. There was a lot of great and weird stuff coming out of Canada, and I'm a huge fan of this musician named Spencer Krug. He's in a bunch of different bands, but the song I picked is "I'll Believe in Anything" by Wolf Parade, sort of a super group of indie rock guys. This one came out in 2005, and so this is sort of a weird electronic rock song, I guess. It's sort of weird, weird take on this sort of, you know, music kind of coming out of the 90s, like alternative rock, but just in a completely different way. And it's got a great emotional core, and just, it kind of goes in many different directions, and so it really grabbed my attention. And his vocal style is very singular, and so that really grabbed my attention as well. And so I was into this for quite a long time, and I've kind of recently been listening to his stuff again recently. I don't know if it's that nostalgia or if it's just like a truly have a deep love for it, but since I do kind of talk a lot about punk and metal and hip hop and stuff like that on our show, I wanted to throw out something that would be completely outside of that.
Yeah, I completely forgot that you were into experimental music. And when this started playing, I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, this is weird. I was like, I like it. It's going in a weird direction. But then as it played on, like I kind of recalled some other stuff that you had put out maybe like last summer that we talked about, or maybe in like season 5, whenever you would come on every Monday show and talk about music with me.
Mm-hmm.
You got into some experimental stuff. So I wasn't quite as surprised, but I was still like, at first I was like, where are we going with this? I was like you said, metal and punk
Yeah.
and even like hip hop, I was like, all right, I see you. I see you, Gregory Day. All right. Well, number 4 for me is also probably one of my favorite picks, and it's something I haven't thought about in a while. I haven't listened to in a while, but no less do I love it. I mean, Three Small Words by Josie and the Pussycats in
Yeah.
2001
Yeah.
from the movie Josie and the
Mm-hmm.
Pussycats.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great movie, and what a great song. And for us who were in the punk rock in that moment in time, so like in the 90s was like punk and ska's heyday, and in the 2000s it was still kind of going strong, but a lot of punk and ska were like, they were leaving and going like mainstream, but like pop or alternative. And so
Mm-hmm.
like there started to be this split in the punk community between like, hey, if we don't go pop, then like we're gonna die off and no one's gonna listen to us. And then everyone else was like, no, we gotta stay hardcore and punk and ska, and well, punk and ska did end up dying off. And but like Josie and the Pussycats was one of those arguments. It was a band that came from a movie. Like Rosaria Dawson's the bassist in this one, so it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and now she's Ahsoka Tano, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like it's crazy for me to think about that. And the song and this band represents to me like the movement of punk needing to diversify. And it was a chick punk band. So like all 3 members were females, and it was just like there were so few punk bands that were all female at the time. So I loved it. Although a lot of people hated it at the time, I secretly loved this song.
This song to me was not a surprise. I mean, I think I think it's so indicative of like the music that you truly love, and I think it just really fits in with everything I know about you. So it's a great pick.
But not
And
surprising.
not surprising, no, not at all. But I did want to ask if you knew whether this did the 3 actresses do perform this song, or is it dubbed for them, or do you know anything about that?
They had performed it, but there are
Mm-hmm.
is also like because Just Seen the Pussycats an actual band too. So there are other artists, and I do not know their names.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So they do have some instances where they perform it, but they also
Mhm.
do have some instances where it's like actual band.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Cool.
where are we going for your number 4?
Yeah, yeah. So as much as I love punk music, I think the antithesis to that is prog rock. There's a huge like sort of hatred between the two, because one is fast, live fast, and get in and get out really quickly, and bare bones kind of thing, and then prog rock is the opposite of that, where it's like long, progressive songs and sort of sci-fi themes or fantasy themes or whatnot. But I really love that music, and so I picked Starless by King Crimson to represent that. Yeah, it's just I love just chilling out, listening to musicality of these kinds of bands, and I'm not like a huge prog rock head, so I couldn't name like 10 different prog rock bands, but I specifically love this band. And they have they're just super great, and they have a lot of great modes of like um acoustic, and they sort of have some sort of like synthesizer stuff going on in their music, but then they can really hit the gas when they need to in a song like this. So yeah, I want to share a little prog rock with you.
So like we told people up top, we shared our list right before the show and recording. And so I was even gonna wait till like right before we recorded. And then I told myself, I was like, you know what? Knowing Gregory Day, he's probably gonna have like a few 15, 20 minute long songs just to throw me off. And sure enough, like this one, 13 minutes, I was like, oh, here we go, here we go. And so like I never heard of this group and never heard of prog rock before.
Mm.
So like there we have 13 minutes, and what appears at first to me as some kind of like Pink Floyd wannabe adjacent band, kind of. And I was like,
Hmm.
WTF, Gregory Day. I was like, I know you probably like Pink Floyd. Why are you listening to this? What is
Hmm.
this all
Hmm.
about? But then, like, towards the end of the song, it just turns into like this fast-paced, awesome jazz crescendo, and then just like this kick-ass saxophone and distorted guitar, and the drums come in. I was like, oh yes, yes, yes. I was like, this is how you end a 13-minute long song. I
Yes.
was like, but it's a journey, right? Like it
Hmm.
goes through many different stages. And so yeah, you caught me with this one. I was like, where are we going with this? And then by the end, I was like, I see you, buddy. I see you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And these are like, King Crimson is a band that's like a contemporary of Pink Floyd, and like that whole Yes is another band in that era, like
Okay.
the whole like pre-punk rock, and in a way, punk rock was a an answer to that, where they thought rock and roll was getting away from its roots, where it was getting um long and exhausted and bloated, and you know rock and roll music is supposed to be a 3-minute song, and so uh, this is the kind of music that kind of you know lit the match to get those people making that kind of music. But I love this kind of stuff, and like you said, it's all about the journey, all the different musical influences and all the kind of different things they're adding in there. So yeah, I love King Crimson forever, man. I like them.
I like it too. I like it too. All right, so like my number three couldn't be any more different than from your number four right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, and also say I was influenced to pick this one from the music video because although
Yeah,
music
okay.
still, a lot of bands still have music videos today,
Yeah.
but still most people listen to stuff on like Spotify and other things like that. But we come from an age where MTV was still MTV and music
Hmm.
videos were hot. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
had,
yeah.
if you had an awesome music video, you were the shit. Like you actually hired directors to come in and shoot your music video if you could, if you had the money for it.
Hmm.
And so partially that influenced this. But my number three pick is "Call Me Maybe" by Carly Rae Jepsen in 2012. Had you ever heard of this song?
Oh yes, I've heard the song. I'm not familiar with the music video though, but I have heard it.
Yes, yes. I think most people, even if you don't know, I think maybe "Call Me Maybe" is enough to catch most people on. But if you don't, like, if you were to hear this song, you'd be like, oh, I know this song, yes. And I think it's, how do we say, just like fan fucking tastic. Like it's so great. In the music video, like it's
Hmm.
about the female lead singer trying to get the new neighbor to come and talk to her, and it's like a hookup song, "Call Me
Hmm.
Maybe." And
Yeah.
he's like taking off his shirt and got tattoos, and he's cutting the grass or working on the car and stuff, and she's trying to catch his attention, and finally he does, and he's like, so it's a garage band. She's singing, she has her backups, guitarist and drummer, and they are guys, and so she's singing to the new neighbor, and at the end of it, like he's all smiling and stuff, and she's smiling and stuff, and he takes out a piece of paper and walks up to the drummer and hands it to him, and he opens it up and it says "Call Me," and so it's like, oh, near miss. I was like, I love it because
Mm,
like the misdirection, like it's a poppy song, but
yeah,
at the same time, like mixed with the intentions of the artist in the video, it really shows like
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
better meaning in there too.
yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I've heard the song. There's another pick on your list that's like a song that I don't know how I missed it, but this is a song that I didn't go out of my way to hear, but it was everywhere
Yeah.
and not in a bad way. I mean, I don't have any negative things to say about the song. It's a great pop song. And a lot of my younger friends really hold Carly Rae Jepsen in high esteem for in the pop world. Um, but yeah, this song is it's a great song, and it's probably gonna. If I had to predict, I would say it'll probably hold up as a classic of this era. As a when we look back at the pop charts, and um, but I will say, yes, surprised that you picked this song, and but the fact that it's based on the music video, I wonder where did you see the music video, or how did how was it? How did it enter into your world? Because I think even this song, like music videos, aren't necessarily like how we used to consume them, where you would just watch MTV and it would just cycle through. So nowadays you have to go to it, or it's posted on social media or something like that. So I'm interested, how did this come into your world?
The YouTube holes,
Okay,
like going
okay,
down the
yeah,
rabbit holes. Like,
hmm,
I
yeah,
mean, it's not as prolific anymore,
hmm,
like people going
hmm,
down the YouTube rabbit hole. But you remember how
hmm,
YouTube used to be? We all would always watch YouTube and just like YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. Like how
yeah,
people do TikTok today, that
hmm,
was YouTube,
yeah,
like
exactly,
straight up.
right on.
So that's how.
Yeah, all right.
But now to something that surprised the living hell out of me. Take me to your number three, please.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan. I really am a big fan of country music. To a degree though, like 50s, 60s, 70s country music. And so there's a small offshoots that I particularly really like is the psychedelic inspired stuff of like the late 60s and entering the 70s. And to represent that, I picked a song called Sin City by the Flying Burrito Brothers. This is a song that's highly influenced by the Everly Brothers, 50s uh, uh, group. And I don't know, I just kind of love the dual vocal aesthetic of them. That's from the Everly Brothers. That's clear in this song, but also just I don't know. I don't know if it's because most of my life I've lived in Texas and I hear country music everywhere. Um, but something about this just kind of makes me relaxed, and it's just got this steel guitar and this sort of nice groove, and a very sad sounding song. um but yeah, I just love it. I love the whole record. It's really good. It's got some really strange moments on the record, but this one is just the most chill sort of beer drinking music I could think of, and represents the type of country music that I love.
So the name Flying Burrito Brothers in Sin City, I've never heard of them or the song,
Mm,
and I was
mm.
totally thinking some other different direction. I was like, cool. I was like, all right, this is probably something experimental too. I
Yeah, yeah.
was like, in Sin City, I was like, goodness knows.
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
it plays, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, literally, I said to myself, when did the fucking Gregory Day get into Christian country music? I was like, dude, like how, why? But when you frame it as like you've lived in Texas most of your life, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get that. But I was just like, dude, we have never talked about a love of country music, and this is like some old school
Sure, yeah.
country music. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, damn, dude. I was like, but I listened to it. I was kind of like, I could see maybe like sitting on a tailgate of a truck after a good day of mud and drinking a beer, like maybe so, my friend.
Yeah, I would say this also has maybe not so much in this song, but it definitely has a hippie influence on it, California country sort of styling to it, more so than your modern maybe modern artists who are maybe focused more on talking specifically about rural life. This is a little more counterculture. There's a whole like song on the record about burning your draft card and all that stuff, and so it's a little bit more maybe accessible to people who aren't into country music than a lot of artists are.
Gotcha. Yeah, you would have to like suggest me specific songs for me to go
Yeah,
down
sure.
that rabbit hole, my friend. All right, now to my number two, getting close to the end already. Oh, so I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce this
Yeah.
one.
Hmm.
And California Girls by Katy Perry and Snoop Dogg in 2010. And I mean, what can I say? So this song so represents like to me when partying was still partying. Like
Hmm.
like I'm not gonna go really on what that really means, but for real, when partying was really still partying,
Hmm.
this song comes into it for me, and it calls me back
Hmm.
to a time in my life and like
Hmm.
music, and we started seeing other things like raw hip hop artists mixing and doing collaborations with pop artists like Katy Perry, and
Mhm.
and you just start getting these songs like Young Wild and Free is another one, but that Snoop does, and it's just like all about the party life, and it's just like, I love this song, my friend, love this song. What did you think about it?
uh this is the one I kept talking about that I had somehow missed. I'm very familiar
Really,
with
you
other Katy
missed
Perry
Katy
songs. Yeah.
Perry?
No, not entirely this specific song. I mean, I know Teenage Dream and I Kissed a Girl, and
Right, right.
but I don't know, this song not in my stratosphere at all, or in my universe. I don't know, but yeah, it's very Katy Perry, but I guess when you said that, to get context from me, I guess when you said that they remind you of partying was partying, does it remind you of when you used to party, which you no longer do, and that was the song of that time period, like sort of a nostalgic thing, or
Right, right,
yeah,
exactly.
okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this definitely surprises me very much, like your Miley Cyrus pick, because it seems so far out of our worlds, but I could see how with this, especially with the Snoop Dogg and the mixing of the genres, and I could see how it got into your world and how it got into on this list.
Yeah, so I will tell you, how can I say this without saying it? I met a lot of different people from a lot of different worlds with a lot of
Oh,
different
sure.
music taste. And so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get introduced into stuff and party songs,
Hmm.
you just love them for the people
Yeah.
that you're with and the time period. And so yeah, this poppy little song with Snoop Dogg and Katy Perry
Yes.
is like it still calls to me, still calls to
Yes.
me.
Yes. 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 And never anyone listening should also make friends with people who have different music tastes and who can give you great music recommendations that are not in your wheelhouse.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Always go outside of your comfort zone with music and try
Yeah.
different things. Um,
Absolutely.
to that end, your number two, please.
Yes, my number two. This is a song that I absolutely love, and I have an affinity for this genre, but I'm not like a huge obsessive fan over it. But I know there are a lot of people who are obsessive fans of this genre, and it's K-pop. It's one of the largest portions of our popular music, popular music right now, and it has been for some time. And then this is one artist that stood out to me, and it's a little old at this point, but it's from T.O.P., who is from the band Big Bang. If that's probably more famous than just him as a solo artist, but this song Doom Dada, this is a song my wife turned me on to. Sort of maybe Middle Eastern kind of influence with some of the music, but also T.O.P. is not only like from a boy band, but he's also a pretty competent rapper, and I love the flow in this song. Even though I don't know anything he's saying. I don't know what the hell the point of the song is, other than that it's just a great. This is like a great club banger, but also with a very strange aesthetic. If you watch the music video, it's in black and white, and it's just a very bizarre music video, like K-pop, like you were just saying, like. But music videos, K-pop is one of the genres keeping the music video alive right now, because they put a lot of effort into their music videos. And yeah, so this is one. I don't know if this one will surprise you, but I threw it on here and just to see, because we don't really talk about K-pop a lot, but it's every now and then it does surprise me.
I would say it surprised the living hell out of me, man. And it's because I didn't realize it was K-pop. I didn't look at the name,
Ooh,
I didn't look at the band or anything like that. I just like, well,
mm-hmm.
I looked at the name because I had to, but I didn't surf into it because I
Sure.
knew you would tell me
Uh-huh.
about it. So I had no
Yeah.
idea what language they were rapping in or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it automatically called back to like my club days. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, Gregory Day doesn't listen to club music. I was like, I could shake my booty on this one.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are you doing listening to this? I was like, now, but now that you say like the whole K-pop thing and everything, now I kind of see like, all right, that's the international influence that you always you love international music. I was like, so I could see that connected now. But I was definitely
Oh
thrown off
yes,
by the
yes, I do.
club
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah.
It's a good song. I like this one a lot. I
Yeah.
will
Awesome.
say this was arguably out of the first four, this was my favorite one. Yeah, yeah.
No, okay.
I'm not going to say it about the. We'll get to your number one in a second. All
Sure,
right.
sure.
All right. So my number one. I don't think it's necessarily my most surprising. I think two of the previous ones, either the Katy Perry or the Miley Cyrus, are probably the most
Hmm.
surprising. But at the same time, I think my number one is my number one because I love it so much,
Hmm.
but also because I think it is a surprise. I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily pin this in me. I think you might, considering some of like my older taste.
Hmm.
But I was still like, this one's a surprise anyway. And so a friend of mine within the past few months, so recently, just very recently, just got me back into this song and reminded me how much I loved it. And it's I Love You Always Forever by Donna Lewis, 1996. And the end of the 90s, for those of you who weren't there, the end of the 90s came with some incredibly powerful musical, and it was just there was an argument going on between everyone at the time. It's like, what is good music, what is garbage music, like just everyone was arguing. All of society was in a huge argument about who we are and who we wanted to be right before the millennia changed. It was
Hmm.
just it was a state of mind for everyone. And out of all of that and all the music and all the argument, this song, I Love You Always Forever, I mean, the words just really say it all. What did you think?
You know, for some reason, I've either heard the song and completely forgotten about it, or I've never heard it before. I don't know, but I really dug this song. And it did not actually surprise me that this would be on your list. It kind of surprised me that it would be number one, based on some of the other songs you chose, but ranking them as your favorites. Um, yeah, this is a great song. I mean, this is there's a sincerity to it that maybe isn't necessarily in a lot of popular music now, that the 90s had. That's that honesty and the and sort of bearing your soul in this kind of pop music. And yeah, I really dug this track.
Yeah, I would say you may not have heard it since the 1990s, but
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
I'm
not.
pretty sure you probably heard it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and yeah, I agree. This isn't necessarily a surprise to you,
yeah,
but I because
sure,
I
yeah.
but we also
Yeah.
we grew up with similar
Mm,
music tastes and
right,
exploring
yeah,
music, and we've kept in touch. So like
yeah, yeah.
so we do. It is hard for us to surprise each
Hmm.
other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this
I think we
last one
have
of
over this list. Yeah.
yours, I think.
Yeah.
Well, take us away. Take us away.
Yeah, yeah. So this one checks a bunch of different boxes for me. Obviously, as I said earlier, um, some of my music tastes are, I'm into them because of where I've lived most of my life. I've lived most of my life in Texas. I've lived in Corpus Christi and San Antonio, and I live in Austin now. And this artist is, synonymous with Texas, and but it may not be the most obvious thing to you or maybe other or some of the listeners as far as music taste goes. But I chose "Como la Flor" by Selena. Um, this song, I think, encapsulates everything about what made her a great artist, and the reason she was able to be such a crossover artist. Because it not only is indicative of Tejano, but it's just a great pop song. The structure of it and the instrumentation stays true to to her roots and everything. It's in Spanish and it's got the Tejano beat and instruments, but it's also got this great callback to maybe like 80s synth pop, and it's got a very, I don't know how to describe it exactly in musical terms, but it's got a very emotional core to it, that you kind of get from a lot of 80s um, pop music. And so I love this track, and it's been a song that I've loved for most of my life at this point. I mean, um, I think maybe I was 10 when she passed away. And so I've been spent another, almost 30 years of my life listening to Selena. So, um, yeah, I wonder did this surprise you, or did you figure this would be,
Absolutely, absolutely
oh, really?
surprised
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have never,
Yeah.
because I know, because she passed away so long ago, a lot of people
Hmm.
may not remember Selena or have heard of Selena, but I
Yeah.
know who she is very well.
Hmm.
I think she would have blown up to be one of the biggest stars. Like to give people perspective, and granted, this is a subjective opinion here, but I think she could have been like how Beyonce is today. I think Selena could have crossed over
Hmm.
like that, or
Yeah.
like Jennifer Lopez big, or something like that. Like
Hmm.
Selena was coming out huge, and I highly respect her
Yeah.
music. I never got into a lot of it because I wasn't
Hmm.
surrounded by people who did, and
Yeah.
I, like you, I was young when she passed away, so I never was really exposed to it. But whenever it came on your list, I was like, this was the one artist I knew, who I
Hmm.
knew
Hmm.
exactly who this was. And I was
Hmm.
like, I would have never guessed in a million years. I really wouldn't have. And I don't mean that in a
Yeah.
bad way, because like I said, I
Sure,
really
sure.
respect
Yeah.
her music,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
I would have never guessed this was like one of your jam songs. Like I couldn't picture Gregory Day getting ready for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
day listening to some Selena.
Yeah.
Like it just
Oh,
did.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I lived in Corpus Christi when she was murdered. And I just grew, going through all of my years in school here, like living with having so many friends, Hispanic friends who just love Selena, and it's just that influence on me, and it's just, I think, to contextualize it today, like for someone like Bad Bunny, or maybe even Pitbull before him, like sort of bringing over that Latin music into the mainstream, or whoever the artist was that did Gasolina, like that sort of crossover. Like Selena was there before, made all of these artists, and it's like this song and a few others that were just on the cusp of, had she lived, maybe the next record would have been the one that catapulted her into global fame. And so um yeah, it's just been, maybe it's a regional thing, but it's just been part of my musical taste for quite a long time.
I love it, and I think it's a great pick to
Yeah.
end the summer music series on,
Hell
because
yeah.
the summer music is always about it's a journey about
Hmm.
taking us somewhere differently. And like I said, I haven't thought about Selena in forever and the impact that she had on music and still has on music,
Yeah.
because music isn't just about the impact that it has on society.
Hmm.
Music is about the impact it has on us as a
Yeah.
listener.
Yeah.
And so for each of us, whether it's you with Selena or me for Party in the USA, like, music hits us all in different ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I love this list. I love the music series. I am going to miss doing it, my friend. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah. Until next summer.
Yes, until next summer. But any shout outs you want to give out before we head out for the day?
Um, Music wise, there was one, looking at your list, I was like, man, maybe I should have went a little more in a pop direction. But one thing that came to my mind that I almost threw in here, and would maybe have maybe been a little redundant, but I was going to shout out Grimes. For every weird thing about her and Elon Musk and all that stuff, her music's still on point. So I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, I feel you. I feel you. I
What
made
about you?
a
Yeah.
I made a 15-song playlist where
Mhm.
I was like, and actually I'll send you the playlist after.
All right.
Um, so you almost got Share If I Could Turn Back Time. Almost. Yes,
That would have surprised the hell out of me.
yes. With that, so Cher, shout out to
Yeah.
Cher. And I checked,
Yeah.
she's 77 years old now, and I was like,
No,
man,
nice.
I was like, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but Gregory Day, until the next time, my friend,
Yes, sir.
turn the music loud and play it hard. And that's Gregory Day and Lofi Poli Sci's music series for the summer. Until next summer, always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Talk to you soon, Lo-Fi listeners. Pickering and Day, signing off.
Adios, folks.